What's up, guys? So now guys are talking about going to the HBCUs as an answer to the rejection of affirmative action in college admissions. What are we talking about here? Like, again, I wasn't against affirmative action, but it was problematic, and people pretended like it wasn't. It's been problematic for a long time, so they just X'd it out. Sorry. So, for one thing, there are still policies in place to help people who are struggling financially in going to college. That hasn't changed. Okay, that hasn't changed. The other thing is that this this was a decision handed down about Harvard. So this is about elite institutions. So this is about people who are already scoring in the 99th percentile for SATs, ACTs, and GPA overall. This is not about the average student, um, average potential college student. So be it. So a lot of this doesn't even apply to these people who are mad about it. Let's be honest. I don't care if that offends people, but most of this doesn't even apply to people who are mad about it because they are not elite college material, plain and simple. And for the folks who are, they're not going to an HBCU. HBCUs, and again, this is going to offend people too. I don't care. HBCUs are not prestigious institutions. They simply aren't. So if you are someone who has the ability to go to an elite university, the Ivies, or the top schools like University of Chicago, um, UC Berkeley, MIT, Caltech, Georgetown, places like that, Stanford, and so on and so on. Like, you're not going to want to go to such and such tech university in buttfuck whatever place in the middle of southern, uh, some southern state. You're not. I'm sorry. No one wants to go to buttfuck tech university in no one ever heard of Uville, somewhere down south. Sorry. Uh, I'm sure that doesn't. I guess that comes as a blow to folks, but it doesn't come to a blow to most other people. What's the option? Use the other policies in place to help people who are financially struggling to make it into college, but who otherwise qualify. If the affirmative action was drawn up in such ways, it wouldn't have been as controversial. Like when you have elite institutions sitting there saying, "Oh, his last name is Chang," yeah, we're not admitting him. We need more diversity. That was messed up. And for people who can't see that, just imagine that it was black people in place of Asian people who were overperforming academically and being denied admittance into elite institutions because they wanted less black people who overperformed in academics in those colleges. You could quickly see how wrong that is. But for some reason, it's okay to be openly racist against Asians, particularly East Asians, right? It was messed up. And that was what the case is. Now, people can say, yeah, there are people driving a wedge between Asians and black people for the benefit of white people. And then there's other people also saying, well, remove legacy students too. Let's be real. What separates elite universities from other universities are the legacy students. These people bring more money to the colleges than other students do. They're not going to remove that because that's part and parcel of what makes these elite institutions in the first place. So that's not an option either, guys. Plain and simple, apply for the places you qualify for, and you probably will still get into them. That's just the pragmatic approach. And now, if certain groups are overrepresented in college, like Asians, that's because they worked their ass off to get there. Their whole value system, to a fault, from a lot of what Asians have complained about with how their parents treat them, but to a fault, their culture is built on academic overachievement. So, in any case, HBCUs is not an option for a lot of people who still want an elite university's name on their degrees, right? And trying to go after legacy students, that's not going to work. I'm sorry. There's there's not enough momentum politically to get that rolling. And two, even if it was, it would destroy the very fabric of what elite universities are about. So again, that's a non-starter. Um, Applying to schools that you think you can qualify for, do that. I mean, just basically follow the same advice they used to give us. Like, you had your safety schools that you applied to, that you know you can get into. You had the schools where you qualify, but you're not sure if you can make it into. And then you might apply to one, maybe two, depending on how much money you have for all these admission fees, or application fees rather. You apply to one or two lofty schools. That's how you do it. And you would um, find your way in one of them. If it's your safety school, so be it. At least you got in somewhere. Um, but yeah, the big state schools are always an option. I went to a big state school. I'm fine with it. um, I didn't even bother to apply to the elite schools, even though I may have qualified, but it just wasn't an interest of mine. Looking at it now, yeah, maybe for for a grad school, I would apply, but as an undergrad, I wasn't even thinking about that. I had too many other things going on at the time, so I'm happy with it. But people need to stop the nonsense. Like, again, this was something that conservatives were threatening to do for like over 40 years, and it was ignored. But they stacked the deck with the Supreme Court and got their way. So I don't know.